Rob G, there's a story that's troublesome to me when I hear this, and it has to do with the Indianapolis Colts and one said quarterback. What is the story here?
Well, it's involving friend of the show, Jeremy Fowler. So for you to say that it's troubling is really disappointing, Rob. Because Jeremy
like that.
He worked really hard on this story.
I got it, but it's the information is troubling to me.
Negativity. So Jeremy
They
Fowler.
say I'm the most negative guy on the radio. Is that true?
Yes.
You answered that too quickly. What kind of producer?
But that's your brand. You're riding, you're ripping, right?
That's true.
Am I? No,
I've never heard
seriously.
say if I'm riding, I'm
you did literally
celebrating.
say if I'm riding,
Yeah.
I'm ripping. You did say that.
Alex, I'm the most negative guy on the radio.
Now they always say congratulations.
Wow.
I mean,
Your takes are negative. Your disposition is all positive, though, Rob.
Yes.
like
I was going to say, did Mike Harmon quit?
Wow. And that's just it.
see.
Get him on.
Oh,
Get him
you
over,
thought
get him
me?
in.
You thought me meant when you're talking about sports. No, we're talking about everybody else. Doug Gottlieb, Harmon, Jay Smith. All right, hey, yo, I already know. Let me go back to some shows, man. I wasn't here. When my back was turned, what you had to say?
It's going to be on site with Dub, too, just by association.
Man,
I ain't gonna lie. I was nervous. I was shook at Super Bowl weekend. I didn't know
you thought we were going to throw hands?
Listen, I got PTSD from being in Detroit and spending 5 years in Flint, Michigan. I just didn't know where this was gonna go. I didn't know if you was. And I told y'all I'm gang. So I'm with you, then I got to be with you.
Wow.
We'll talk about it later in the car. I'm like, why'd you do that? Why'd you say that? But when I'm with you, I got to be with you.
All right, guys, back to the big story. Jeremy Fowler, Dan Graziano do their weekly buzz column for ESPN. And this week, one of the questions they posed out was, who's going to be the next big extension? We get extensions throughout the season. Usually before the trade deadline is when we get the last of the calendar year. And Fowler says, well, first, Aiden Hutchinson is probably the most likely.
Now, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's healthy this year. They're doing well.
Sure.
That makes all the sense.
It's their guy that they drafted, right? So I get all that.
And then the very next sentence he says, but the real answer might be the Indianapolis quarterback who we just discussed in the previous portion. Graziano follows up to say, I'm fascinated to see whether the Colts would do something with Jones in season. This one is complicated because the rules say you must wait a year after signing a guy if you want to adjust his contract in a way that makes his cap number go up. But there are certainly ways the Colts could do that if they choose. They also add, people around the league have been very impressed by Indiana Jones so far with the Colts. The only question mark right now is, can he stay healthy?
And I got news. Is this mic on? Hello? This is going out to the Indianapolis Colts, their ownership, management, general manager, all that kind of stuff. The guy who sells in the ticket window. I hope everybody in Indianapolis is listening. Don't do it! Don't do it! Do not sign Daniel Jones off a premature, way too early, haven't beaten anybody, kind of start to the season. We've seen this before. Do you remember the New York Football Giants picked Daniel Jones over Saquon Barkley after they beat the bad defensive team, the Minnesota Vikings, in the playoffs? You remember that? Mm-hmm. Oh, he's arrived. He won a playoff game. And then they went out and signed him and said, we're not going to sign Saquon. We'll sign Daniel Jones. And they realized they made a mistake right away. Dude, what are you doing? They've beaten the Dolphins, Broncos, Titans, and Raiders. Really?
Don't do that.
Don't do it. Daniel Jones, no. Can I give you an old TV reference? I'd rather have Barnaby Jones than Daniel Jones. And he's dead. No. Do not do it. Don't fall for it. Don't go for the okie doke. This is smoke and mirrors. Something's fishy here because they're not playing any good teams. Daniel Jones has plenty of tape. And it never went straight to the movies theater. It went to Blockbuster first. Yes, that's the kind of quarterback he is. Don't fool yourself. And I know what you're saying. well, Baker Mayfield went somewhere else, and then it turned out to be great. For every Baker Mayfield, there's a Geno Smith, a Justin Fields. There's a plethora of quarterbacks who moved to other places and things didn't work out. So don't give me it's just a change of scenery and they got a better offensive coordinator and they had more weapons and that's all Daniel Jones needed. And once he left the Giants, and he's going to be this guy. No. What happened with Minnesota last year?
You talking about
With Sam Darnold, right? They didn't want they saw in the biggest games of the year. He melted down. He turned to goo. No, thank you.
I bet they wish they had him
now.
now.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, nobody cares about the regular season. They're trying to win. All I'm saying is, if you're the Indianapolis Colts, do not fall for the okie doke. Look at Daniel Jones. He hasn't beat anyone. I'm not giving this guy a new contract.
I'm not in a rush to sign Daniel Jones. I don't think this is to me, I don't view this as a Daniel Jones thing. I think this is more of a Shane Steichen thing. I think the head coach there, former offensive coordinator for the Eagles, former offensive coordinator for the Chargers, I think this is similar to a Kyle Shanahan thing where he believes what he does, when I get my guy, we're going to produce. When I get the guy that I need, along with this offense, you got one of the best running backs in Jonathan Taylor, who's been going crazy this year, by the way. We don't talk about him. You got a good receiving core, and you got a mobile Daniel Jones. I think it's him saying, I like this guy. And again, this is a report, so we don't know if they're going to do it this year. We don't know how that'll work out. But I think the bank is on him, saying this is what I do. I'm able to be, and had this Colts team compete in the last couple years better than they really should have been with some of the wins that they've had. So I think he's looking at him and says he fits the system I like Kyle Shanahan. When you get me my guy, I'm able to produce. When you give me my guy, I get the best out of you, and that's what we're seeing out of Daniel Jones right now.
No, but my issue is they haven't beaten anybody. Like seriously, look at the team that they've beaten.
Well, so
that's my issue.
They beat the Broncos, which is a good team, and they should have beaten the Rams if the receiver runs in the end zone like we talked about a couple of days ago when I had to say ain't nobody got time for everybody dropping the ball at the end zone. They could have won that game. So they have some quality wins and should have been wins on their resume.
Should have been? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that game was obvious. Dude was in the end zone. I don't know what the epidemic of dropping the ball is, but I just believe that's what it is. And again, that's why I said I understand your hesitation. Daniel Jones has not been doing this for 2, 3, 4 years.
But they did this already. The New York Football Giants gave him a deal after they beat Minnesota in the playoffs, thinking that he had arrived.
Oh, I know. But I think that team does not have the offensive
No, but they won a playoff game is what I'm trying to tell you. So they go on the road. They beat the Vikings in Minnesota.
The Browns won a playoff game a handful of years ago, too.
And that was Baker Mayfield. That was Baker Mayfield.
Right. And I'm saying sometimes you got to go and you go somewhere else and find something. So I get the idea that Steichen may feel I found a guy that I can work with. And I'll say this. The reason why you have these conversations now is because you can mess around and get them for the low, as they say in the streets. You can get him for the low because if I got to wait, he has enough. Let's say he
could be in the clearance bin and I'll pass.
I don't know. I've seen you at Ross. I know how you get busy. You ain't turning down no $7.99.
Especially if it's my size.
Yeah. Let's say he has a really good season. They end up 12-5, 11-6. He's, a really good season.
They got a cupcake schedule. I didn't realize. Yeah. Are they all bad teams they're playing?
And let's say he mess around and has a good season and does it again. Now that cost goes up.
They got so many cupcakes on that schedule. I got a toothache just looking at the schedule.
He would fit around some guys, and if you got your Tua's getting $53 million. I think you'd rather have that one back. There's a handful of other guys getting some money around that.
Yeah, but those
40s.
Are people that you drafted and you have to make a commitment to. Daniel Jones, you didn't draft. It's not the same.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So if he's a guy that you get and you believe in for $32, $34 million,
I don't believe in him is what I'm trying to sell.
I know. Steichen does. Steichen believes, and not only does he believe in him, he believes in himself. That's the biggest part for me. He believes in him saying, I got the guy. Just like I brought up Kyle Shanahan. You give me Jimmy G.
So it's funny, the guy that was Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, isn't playing and they're 4-1.
That's what I'm saying.
So did you really need to sign Brock Purdy?
But when you get a guy like I still think Brock Purdy is the better player. Mac Jones is absolutely having a lot of success right now, and that's part of being in that system is the success opportunities will be there because of the way their system is set up, and they're able to manipulate and move the game to fit you. That's a compliment to Kyle Shanahan and a couple of other coaches who were able to do that. But I think Brock Purdy's a better complete. His ceiling is higher than Mac Jones. But yeah, so that's why I think this is. I think it's Daniel Jones is playing well. He's my type of guy, but it's more about me Steichen what I believe I can do. All right, Rob, so they're watching us right now, which means another thing they can do is what?
They can subscribe. All you got to do is hit that button, subscribe to The Odd Couple for some of the best sports talk content in the nation.
Facts, and while you're at it, they can like, they can comment, they can share. Do all that for us. We appreciate it. Just do all that right up in here.